Hey everybody, welcome back to Urban Odyssey. Today I'm going to be doing a very quick video on a new term that I've kind of created on my own because I think that words and terms are very important for the work that we're doing. You have to know what words really mean, where they came from, and kind of the connotation that they might have had in the past. But that's just kind of a comment, something from my philosophy. But today we're going to look into the term occult ponerology, which is a compound of two different terms. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Okay, so this will be the article body, and I'm just going to kind of read this out to you guys and give you some of my comments on it. So, occult ponerology. The term ponerology, as I will show you in just a moment, means the study of evil. So, beginning within the Directory of Human Husbandry, which is the kind of dictionary that I've been putting together gradually. It's at about 270 some words right now, and I am adding to it as new words and terms come across. Something I'm reading, I will put it into the spreadsheet, and anybody can access this. It's always up to date, so the link here will bring you straight to it. But occult ponerology is defined as the scientific study, systematization, and application of spiritual, psychological, and institutional evil by a hidden elite to subjugate the human race. It reveals that the degradation of society is not organic, but the result of a meticulously engineered, multi-generational alchemical formula driven by a Luciferian cryptocracy. This is the share graphic image. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to skip. Ponerology is the study of the nature of evil. I was first made aware of the term ponerology from the book Political Ponerology by Andrew Lobaczewski. The cover of the book says, Political Ponerology is a science on the nature of evil adjusted for political purposes. And so this is a screen grab from the Ponerology Substack. This screenshot is from the article Grokkapedia Does Political Ponerology. Basically, this was an article by Harrison, who runs the Ponerology Substack, and he is the editor of the original book for Lobaczewski, who is now deceased. He's passed away. But the book was kind of something that was censored, I guess you could say. Wasn't something that was promoted because turns out that people don't, people in power, that is, Lobaczewski was from a communist country, I can't remember which one, and basically the people who were running the country didn't want people to be studying evil, if that surprises you. But Harrison was the editor for Lobaczewski's book, Political Ponerology. I did interview him once. It was a great interview, so you guys should definitely watch that. And all the links to these articles are there. But I just used the screen grab because it was a nice introduction. So let me read that to you real quick. Political Ponerology is a proposed psychological discipline developed by Polish psychiatrist Andrew Lobaczewski, focusing on the origins, mechanisms, and dynamics of macro-social evil, the large-scale manifestation of pathological traits in political systems and societies. Drawing from clinical observations under totalitarian regimes, it posits that a minority of individuals with innate personality disorders, particularly psychopathy and related characteropathies, infiltrate social structures, exploit ideological movements, and impose pathocracy, a system of rule by the psychologically deviant that subverts normal societal functions for predatory ends. Lobaczewski's framework emphasizes empirical patterns of evil's propagation independent of specific ideologies, as seen in his analysis of communist Poland. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking of. I just didn't want to give the wrong one and then have to go back and change it, but Poland, where such actors rose through the networks of deceit and coercion. The core text, Political Ponerology, the Science of Evil, Psychopathy, and the Origins of Totalitarianism, which was published, revised edition, published in 2022 after decades of suppression, originally in English in 2006. The text describes the ponerogenic process, a stepwise corruption where psychopaths initiate evil by allying with characterologically disturbed followers, gradually replacing merit-based governance with authoritarian control that enforces moral inversion and suppresses dissent. Lobaczewski, who drafted early manuscripts amid persecution and exile, identified universal traits like the lack of empathy and manipulative rhetoric as drivers, applicable to historical cases from Bolshevik Russia to Nazi Germany, where ideological facades masked underlying personality-driven tyranny. And so I'm going to go ahead and move on. The little note that was in that article, I wanted to include that as well. This note is by Harrison. He said, it would be more accurate to say that leadership positions shift from the characterologically disturbed to the more psychopathic, or that psychopaths move from positions of influence to positions of leadership, which I would agree with. I would agree with that. And this is another article. If you would like to know more, I highly encourage it, because it was interesting to find out that there was, in fact, a word for what I've been doing, ponerology. So, as you know, that follows from that, this idea of occult ponerology, put them together. And so that's what this video is. Definitely go and follow his work. It's really great work. And this is the interview that I did with him. This was a couple months ago, probably about 6 months ago. Okay, so now let's get into the meat of the article. The definition: occult ponerology demonstrates that what the profane masses perceive as random acts of cruelty, political corruption, or moral decay are actually manifestations of a highly organized great work. This dark science operates on 4 distinct but interwoven vectors. Those are psychological, societal, institutional, and spiritual. So the first is psychological: fear and trauma as a weapon. And links, I put links throughout the body of the post. So if you would like to know more about this domain, check out this resource page that I put together. All of the information that I've collected on MKUltra, Monarch programming, along with people who have shared their experiences, survivors. Check that page out. It's got a lot of information that you will want to see. Occult ponerology dictates that to control a society, the architects must first master the destruction and reprogramming of the individual mind. This is achieved through the weaponization of trauma and psychopolitics. Trauma-based mind control. The cryptocracy utilizes sophisticated mind control strategies such as Project MKUltra and the Monarch programming methodologies, which involve the combined application of physical pain, double-bind coercion, psychological terror, drugs, and split brain stimulation. Dissociation and alter systems. Because human beings are naturally designed to dissociate when circumstances threaten survival, the occult programmer inflicts unspeakable trauma, including ritual abuse and sexual torture, to shatter the core personality. These fragmented identities, called alters, are programmed with specific access codes, instructions to create undetectable slaves, assassins, and couriers. this is my note. The best and only way that I can really convey this idea to somebody who hasn't experienced it is that we follow orders or people die. So let me give you an example. Why is it that all of Congress is doing everything possible to not release names, to not release files? And why is it that even people who, you might have thought have good intentions, and, maybe they do, but if you are in Congress, if you're a member of Congress, and powerful people who have been there for a long time might be implicated, and so if it was to come out, they would have a bad time. So because they've been there for so long, because they've got sway, money, power, what they will do is they will resort to extreme, desperate measures. They will, for instance, they will go and they will pick up your family in the middle of the night, and they will say, hey, if you don't make this go away, somebody's going to get hurt. And so they will quite literally, hurt people that you care about if it means, keeping you quiet. That's what I'm saying. You follow orders or people die. That's what they're told. So, they might have the greatest morals in the world. They might be great people. But if a billionaire who's got all the money and power in the world is going to be implicated, they can send some people to harass you or your family. They can take collateral. They can say something bad is going to happen. We've got your kids, we've got your parents, etc. You make this go away and then they'll be okay. That's how it works, because there's too much on the line. That's the way they see it. They have too much riding on the line to allow somebody with their morals to come in and think that they are going to fix something. When that fear kicks in, if you don't make this go away, something bad is going to happen. When that fear kicks in, there's a fight or flight response. And so when that happens and somebody really is scared, the adrenaline takes over. And this is the only way I can communicate the general idea of how dissociative trauma can be used to create alters. That is a very bad explanation, so I'm not trying to say that is what it is. I'm saying this is the way that I can help people who've never gone through it understand it. Okay, moving on. The blank slate. Ultimate goal of this psychological butchery is the unconditional surrender of the mind. By breaking down the victim's identity, the programmer induces a state of complete suggestibility where a new Luciferian script can be poured into the void. There's a Jesuit phrase, perinde ac cadaver, which means disciplined like a corpse. Basically, you don't have any free will. You do what you're told, and you can be a puppet on strings. That's basically a Jesuit idea, and that pops up in the study of ponerologies, especially hidden evil. The next domain, the societal, macro-infection and inversion. Occult Ponerology scales the psychological shattering of the individual to shatter entire nations. The elite do not simply conquer through force, they demoralize and invert reality so that the population willingly embraces its own destruction. And it's for that reason alone that I argue in favor of the hypothesis that it is satanic, that it is literal, it's real, because, what else is evil than convincing somebody to, destroy themselves with a smile on their face? That's insidious. It's kind of a level lower. It's not evil, it's insidious. What force of nature consciously seeks to damn people forever by making them complicit in their own destruction, by making them effectively want to, unalive, as people say? I contend that it is, in fact, not a human force. I think we do have a real enemy that seeks our destruction, and the ancient peoples did as well, and that's where symbols like the evil eye come from. You know, every culture has the evil eye, the idea that you shouldn't speak bad things upon yourself, or this idea that somebody's always waiting to prey on your downfall. You know, somebody will always be waiting to screw you over or to stab you in the back. That idea, basically. This is another article that you will want to see. The supervillain scholars and doctors of deception rebooted America in her documentary on World War III and cultural decay, which is right there below. Identified 3 scholars, and then the last 2 have been added after the fact by myself. So the 3 that she identified were Herbert Marcuse from the Frankfurt School. She titled his role as the divider. The second being Theodore Adorno, also from the Frankfurt School. He is the projector. Third is Edward Bernays, the deceiver, the nephew of Sigmund Freud, the propagandist, created the idea of public relations. Kurt Lewin, the director, who did work on group psychology, how people can be used in a group setting to further certain ends. And the last being Joseph Mengele, who I might argue is the devil himself. The reason that all of those people had to die in World War II was for the research, for the MKUltra mind control research, because they were able to find out how far you can push a person before they die. You know, if I leave somebody out with no clothes on in below freezing temperatures, how long will it take them to freeze to death? Okay, it takes 35 minutes. So for the MKUltra trauma, we will do 25 minutes, just far enough that they won't die, but just far enough that they will suffer a lot. That's what Mengele did. And I'm pretty sure that they just released documents not too long ago with all the stuff that's come out that Mengele escaped as well as Dr. Green. So that's why it's not easy being green. Definitely suggest you see both of those. They're documentaries, movies, they're great. I will put her links in the description as well. The Hegelian Engine. Evil is advanced through managed conflict. The illuminated ones intentionally create a crisis or a problem called the thesis, secretly fund the opposition, the antithesis, and herd the bewildered, traumatized masses into a prefabricated totalitarian solution, the synthesis. Create the problem and sell the solution. Moral relativism and decadence. To sever humanity from divine natural law, the cryptocracy promotes moral relativism and the destruction of the family. Using the blueprints of the Frankfurt School above and psychopolitical operatives, they engineer the teaching of homosexuality to children, the promotion of excessive drinking, and the pervasive spread of pornography. Sociologists note that when sex becomes the dominant idea in the mind, the emotions are destroyed and the mind is incapacitated, rendering the population docile. A faux society. The masses are trapped in a videodrome kingdom of illusions, matrix of mendacity. Through their ownership of the mass media, the Illuminati simulate reality, feeding the public a diet of occultism, predictive programming, and psychological operations to arrest human development at an easily manipulatable adolescent level. The institutional subversion and equivocation. Occult Ponerology requires the infiltration and hijacking of the mechanisms of cultural authority, specifically religion, government, and education. This was something that you can go back to the Jacobins and the French Revolution, to proofs of a conspiracy, the text. There's another one as well. This article details it. These techniques had been employed in that age of reason in France. I can't remember how they said it. The temples of reason, whatnot, illumination of France, the French Revolution, etc. Playbook is pretty much the same. Also, tax-free foundations. These foundations, Tavistock Institute, Rand Corporation, all of these think tanks are the ones who push the ideology. They say this is the right thing, basically. This is the right thing. And so now we will implement this. We'll go around and spend money to convince people and basically just throw money at it until people oblige. And they push this as smart and enlightened. You're not doing it the right way. You should do a better way. We have a better way to do it, basically. And then this text is titled Libido Dominandi, Sexual Liberation and Political Control. A really good text. See that as well. So the institutional, a lot of the work in this domain is as a result of the Jesuits. Blueprint of the Jesuits. Archives revealed that the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, are master architects of institutional infiltration, operating under the Machiavellian principle that the ends justify the means. They utilize all sorts of masks, disguises, in the words of John Adams, to govern consciousness and acquire global power. Perfas et nefas, which means through right or wrong. Basically, we will do this the easy way, or we will do this the hard way. Destruction of truth. To operate successfully, the concept of objective truth must be eradicated. This is achieved through the theological weaponization of equivocation and mental restriction, allowing initiates to lie, commit perjury, and deceive the public while maintaining a veneer of holiness. Theory of development. Ponerology utilizes the theory of development to slowly override established morality and tradition, changing laws and doctrines from within to suit the current needs of the elite, effectively unchaining reality from the eternal and harnessing it to the present moment for political power. Finally, spiritual control, murder for gain, manism. The most critical revelation of occult ponerology is that this systematic evil is not merely the result of human greed or psychopathy, that it is directed by and feeds non-human interdimensional entities. In the words of William Guy Carr in his final manuscript titled Satan, Prince of this World, a quote that stuck with me: men who refuse to give God credit for their superior intelligence invariably become Satanists, and as such serve the global Luciferian conspiracy. And that really sums the whole thing up. It's that these all share in common rebellion. The idea that, in this case, superior intelligence, saying, I did that on my own. That's not a gift from God. That's not something that can help other people. It's that I did this on my own. Nobody gave it to me. I'm not humble. That's rebellion. But it's internal rebellion because you're not, it comes out in your interactions with other people. Sure, it absolutely does. But you're rebelling against yourself because deep down, I don't know who looks at the beauties of the world and thinks that they did that. Do you look at the Grand Canyon and say, oh, well, I did that? No, deep down people know that it's God who does deserve rightful credit for our superior intelligence. If somebody's really smart, well, that's a gift from God. And I think everybody knows that deep down. But the people who won't admit it, they are in this state of rebellion. But they do know deep down, so it makes you almost delusional, you could say. Masters of the Secret Combination, Mayhemism, the idea where secrecy can be used to gain, basically, to keep a secret and to put, people under oath and say, if you tell our secret, well, we're going to kill you. That is how these have held power for so long. Because in doing that, breeding fear, making people scared, and then monopolizing knowledge. Let's say the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, where they kept the Bible in Latin, so only the priest could read the Bible. That idea. Well, if only we can read the Bible, and you're scared that if you do something wrong, you're going to go down to hell. Well, then we're going to hold power over you, because you're going to need somebody to tell you what it means, to tell you what's right or wrong. See this article? It's a really good article. Talks about that more. On the spiritual, the law of reversal and inversion. The core doctrines of the occult network is the Kabbalistic and Hermetic reversal of God and Satan. They believe that Lucifer is the true God of light and liberty, and that their acts of evil, such as murder, pedophilia, ritual sacrifice, are sacramentally transformed into righteousness through occult alchemy. They really, and I know this is something that's hard for people to really wrap their head around, but they truly believe that what they are doing is right. And that's what people, for the most part, don't understand all of the way. People, I don't think they get that far in their logic, because this is not logic that the average person knows. You have to study it. You have to study ponerology, the study of evil, the manifestation of evil. Because if that's our enemy, as Bill Cooper says, how can you defeat an enemy that you don't know anything about? And so they believe that what they are doing is good. They are doing what's right. And so with that, let me play a clip to get that point across.
The ultimate goal of satanic Mickey Mouse programming is to facilitate Oz programming, which we have not yet discussed in detail. But in brief, and to oversimplify, Oz programming is designed to take us into the modern age without the need for Christianity. Once we have embraced Lucifer's plans for our modernity, the next phase is to prepare us for Armageddon, and lastly for the satanic version of a one-world government Zion utopia, Emerald City.
You know that we have come to honor with the Norman Cousins Global Governance Award, Walter Cronkite.
Our failure to live up to our obligations to the United Nations is led by a handful of willful senators. They pander to the rest of the religious right wing, that we should have a world government, but only when the Messiah arrives.
No.
Mr. President, can I share with them about what the rabbi gave to you? I think it's special. Since you're Jewish, you understand.
I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian.
The Messiah. So the head rabbi of Israel and Israel, they took the president Donald Trump, his name, and they came out to the same lettering as the Messiah. So it's a very special thing that they have it over today.
So my father.
It's the same number, you know. It's amazing how it's count, you know.
Perhaps it is no accident that the numeric value of Donald Trump in Hebrew is the same as Messiah, son of David, Mashiach ben David, 424.
Any attempt to achieve world order before that time must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
Which Walt referred to as the Epcot Center. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. It appears that Walt altered his view on life from his Christian Church of England upbringing to Masonry when he found companionship and meaning as a young man in the Masonic Demole Club for boys. In short, all Illuminati infiltrated organizations have the end goal of turning this planet openly over to Lucifer and crowning him openly as the king of the world at Old Jerusalem. They want to do this because they believe the mythology they are taught. It is important to understand that these do not see themselves as evil, but merely more highly illuminated. They see most of humanity and themselves just as John Todd Collins originally did.
Right, so they don't see themselves as evil. They think that they are smarter than you and me, and that they know what we need and what's best for us better than we do. That's what they believe, and that is the only way to look at what they are doing. They don't wake up necessarily and just, do this to make people mad. They really, in a messed up way, even when they do these ritual murders, they believe that they're, it's like this world is horrible, so it's like at least we're setting this person free. Like that's how they would rationalize it. They would say that they are actually helping them because now they don't have to suffer in the world anymore. And it's a toxic mentality, and that's what I'm trying to explain here. Another key argument for why they may be quote-unquote alien. I don't mean, green alien. I mean alien as in somebody not familiar. An alien, somebody from China would be an alien in the United States because they are from somewhere else. The reason that this is a big debate, people have gone back and forth, and some people agree, some people don't. That's not really saying which is true or not, but the reason people say that is because these people are so foreign. They're not like you or I, and so they're practically alien. They are practically a whole different race, because, you just got to go and read the Epstein files and you will figure out what kind of evil exists in the world, and you never knew about it before because you are just a person with good intentions. You don't think that way. Spiritual vampirism. This is what it's all about. It's about parasitism. The whole thing is parasitic. The system literally feeds on human suffering. Passion, you could say passion. It's the breath of life. The constant generation of terror, warfare, and ritual blood sacrifices releases energy that nourishes the demonic entities powering the Matrix. Former insiders suggest that trauma and abuse are designed to attract vampiric, dark, demonic energy. Breath War is a short book that my good friend James Carr wrote. There are 2 others in the series, and they're all free, by the way. You can download them and read them for free. And that link there is the interview that he and I did a while back. And we're about due to do another one, so maybe that will be a project for the near future. But I encourage people to check these articles out because it's not louche. It's not something abstract. I don't like the word louche because that's not calling it what it is. That's not telling people that it's quite literally their spirit. It's that if we are made in the image of God, and this is the alien part, if we are made in the image of God, and that we have the power to create good things, you can create change. If somebody's having a bad day, you can go and you can create a bit of light in their life by helping them. And so we have, in being made in the image of God, we have that power to create new things. And they don't. That's why they have to use insurance and usury and interest to live off of the backs of everybody else. And so, because of that, they can't create. And so they steal from other people. They use other people. Usury. It's quite literally the breath of life. So traditionally there are 3 aspects. There is the body, there is the spirit, and then there's the soul. And as I understand it, I imagine people probably have feedback on this, but as I understand it, that's not the purpose of this video, but I'm just going to kind of put it out there so that people can understand why I am presenting it this way. The 3 parts being the body, the soul, and the spirit. The body is the body. Now, the breath of life, the spirit, is that once God breathes the animating force into you, breathes life into you, you become a living soul. So you don't necessarily have a soul. You are a soul. And you need the breath, the spirit, the animating force. You need the wind, knock the wind out of you. If you get hit really hard, they say, you got the wind knocked out of you. And that's what it means. Also, the term conspiracy, conspire. So spire. Somebody is sweating. You would say they're perspiring. The respiration, to breathe. To conspire means to breathe together, to breathe with other people. Either way, it's not louche. It's quite literally the breath of God. And demons, being demons, don't have it. And so they have to steal it from the people who do have it. Finally, alien elite, the high adept Satanists who rule the world view themselves. Important there. I'm not arguing this. They view, and they would argue this themselves. They believe that they are so different than human beings like us. They are so illuminated and special and rich that they believe that they are alien to us. They view us the same way as I've, argued that they are fundamentally different from us. They would see it, from the other side of the mirror, if you will. So they view themselves as an alien elite, a separate, superior species. They maintain their power by establishing blood covenants and opening portals to the abyss, functioning as the earthly avatars for the synagogue of Satan to finalize the enslavement of mankind. And to sum everything up, occult ponerology is the clinical anatomy of the matrix. It proves that the New World Order is not a political construct, but a vast Luciferian religious operation. It utilizes the trauma of the individual, the deception of the masses, the subversion of the church and state, and the invocation of the demonic to construct a global panopticon where humanity is farmed as a biological and spiritual resource. And so that is a good sales pitch for studying ponerology. This is ponerology, and the reason it proves this is because in studying it, you will find what everybody else has found who studies it. There's a reason why pretty much anybody who does some digging will find the same general structure. They will find that typically people who have influence, people who have money and power, will consolidate their power by forming secret societies and living off the backs of the working masses. And so I'm going to finish the whole thing up and end the video by playing a clip. I hope you guys learned something. Please like and subscribe, follow on whatever platform you're seeing this on. Leave your comments, questions, concerns. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just please, if you have a question or criticism, just articulate that. I would love to go back and forth and learn something. But please, if you disagree with something, just tell me, hey, I disagree with this, and this is why. That way we both have the care to learn and the care to teach. Because if you don't have both, being right or wrong doesn't really mean anything. So, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. And let me roll the clip.
It is another fact of history that once an elite class is established, secret acts of barbaric ritual are always instituted so as to create an ulterior agenda to concentrate the power of the elite and thus live a life of excess on the back of the working masses, who are kept in the dark for as long as possible. It is no lie that today in the United States of America, the leaders of the Democrat Party are the wealthiest, most powerful people in our nation.
I'm not that person.
These know the historical fact that all pure democracies suffer with mob rule and end in tyranny. This is their plan for you behind secret doors. Remember that it is a satanic trick to accuse your enemy of the very thing that you yourself are doing.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
This is the direct meaning of being a master Mehan. This elitist power grab is maintained through blackmail and indebtedness. The United States and much of Europe are in the last throes of this right now. It is encouraging to see the masses open both their eyes. Both eyes are needed to see the demons hiding behind the bushes, and the Clintons, and the Kenyans too.
Yeah, I was not born in Hawaii. I wasn't born in the United States of America. I come from Kenya.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You can smell them by their musk, even if they are the fellers hiding behind the rocks, so to speak. Just like the blast of any warning Trump, knowing the past can help you avoid being a Zuckerberg when you find your hero's shiftingness into the Newsom scum of modern confusion.
And my preferred pronouns are he, him, and his, so thank you for sharing yours with me.
You have to be careful when it comes to rumors, but it has been so humored among the masses. And forewarned is forearmed. And this takes us back to where we started. Here is what Roman patriot consul Postumius learned.